Burada, more specifically, welcome to the back garden of the Dragon's Lair. Now, the reason I'm doing this little video was partly in response to events that happened on the Dragon's Rally, or more specifically, going to the Dragon Rally. And then one of the people that's watched my videos came up with a question, so I'll try and cover that slightly while I'm at it. So part one, the Dragon Rally. I destroyed my Kriega pannier, or one of them. When I say destroyed, I didn't totally destroy it, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I did damage it. Now this is a brand spanking new, super duper, unmolested bag. They have a 10-year guarantee. They are absolutely superb. Now what I am going to say is that what I'm going to show you and what I'm going to talk about is in absolutely no way any criticism of these bags. I am thoroughly impressed. The fact that I've gone out and bought a replacement one should speak volumes, because I'm as tight as anything and I don't like spending money on kit. Anyway, these things are built. They're waterproof, they've got reflective spots, they've got good quality fixings. The main brackets are aircraft alloy. I don't know if you can see that, but they're aircraft alloy. They're waterproof, they're superb. And that's what they should look like. The roll top closure at the top means that nothing should get in or fall out. And that would normally be the case, but yours truly dropped off big time. And this isn't specific to Kriega panniers. If you have a flexible luggage system, it's really important, particularly with soft panniers and the way they can mount, make sure that they are adjusted and tightened after you've put them on the bike, just to make sure they're not going to slip. Also, it might help if you follow the instructions from the manufacturers. I didn't. In fact, I didn't do either of those two things, and that's what led to my problem. So, what happened? With these panniers, you can, as you can see by these tabs, fit a small package on top of the main package. Because I've got a lot of pains and aches and problems, I didn't want to put anything on the top on this occasion. So what I did was I put the panniers on the side. On the non-exhaust side, I put a 12-litre additional pannier, that's the OS12, and on the non-exhaust side I put an OS6 and the OS bottle. So in other words, instead of putting stuff on the top, I just went out. Now you can put one on each side, but you can't really put two. It's not a good thing, and I don't recommend you do that. The second mistake I made was, although I put them on, I didn't tighten at every point. So I put the main harness on, yeah, it was nice and tight. Put my packages on, yeah, they were okay. Notice the word okay. Put the second one on, yeah, that was okay. Oh, it was a bit saggy, but it didn't matter. And it did. As I went down the road, the A55, I'm cruising at a steady 69 and a bit. I was coming down to Penmaen Mawr and I heard a couple of rasping noises. So I thought I better slow down a little bit. However, there's a couple of bumps, not bumps, but undulations as you're coming towards 30 mile an hour section through the Penaclip Tunnel. And there was a further couple of sort of noises, not very nice noises, and I thought this doesn't sound good. So I backed off, slowed right down, did what filming I had to do, got to Conway, to the Conway Motorcycle Club control for the Dragon Rally, and I found this. Yuck. One comprehensively eaten pannier. This side has still got the buckle, and indeed it was still buckled. This one, no, this one, sorry, I've got it wrong. This one I believe was still buckled. This one had unbuckled. No, I'm wrong again. I take that all back. They were still buckled, but this was gaping hole. Now, in this pannier, I had a tent, I had a sleeping mat, which were all sort of like, you know, quite important for a rally. But most important of all, I had sachets of coffee. My coffee supply for the weekend, and that was in the top, so that as soon as I arrived on site at the campsite, first thing to do, open up, have a coffee while I ponder what I'm going to do and make a nice relaxing time of it. Well, this was pristine, and as you can see, it's now got brown bits and it's got burnt bits and what have you. Now what you've got to remember is this pannier wasn't really fitted properly. I didn't fit it properly. It's nothing wrong with our friends at Kriega. Their design is excellent. In fact, how this has survived as well as it has, I don't know. But basically I travelled 70 miles an hour with this being chewed up by a semi off-road back tyre on the CRF. That is the extent of the damage. Had I stopped earlier, which was difficult because it being a dual carriageway, there was no lay-bys where I could legally stop. Had I done that, I could have saved some of this damage. Had I slowed down earlier, again that would have happened. But let's just have a quick examination. The main back panel, it's essentially still intact. It's still there. It's still solid. The side panel, closest to all the damage, still perfectly intact. The outside, fine. The other side panel, fine, going back there. Bottom, it has got a bit hairy because I've not been looking after it, but yeah, that's fine. It's only really the roll top enclosure that's been damaged. Now what that meant was, and don't laugh, I used a beanie hat and a couple of straps. I just had that loosely folded over, and I was able to ride all the way from Conway all the way up to the Anglesey Showground at Mona without any real problems. This did not lose anything else. It stayed intact. There was no further damage. And I was able, after having sorted everything out, to ride comfortably at 70 miles an hour. So, lessons learned. 1, do your tightening. 2, always follow your manufacturer's instructions. 3, carry a beanie hat because you're an idiot and you might just need to do some running repairs. But most important lesson I learned was buy quality kit. This could have been absolutely shredded, and I could have been hundreds of pounds out of pocket. You know, by the time you've spent, these are £115 each at the moment in February 2023. If you've got an expensive tent, some tents go up to £500–600. A lot don't, but some do. So if you've got an expensive backpacking tent and you had an expensive mat, you could be having ruined nigh on £1,000 worth of kit. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it could happen. As it happened, my stupidity has only cost me really one of these. And even so, it's not truly destroyed. It is still, all but not brilliantly, usable. So top marks to Kriega, and I'm going to stand in the corner with the dunce's hat on for my penance. Now quickly, how did I actually have a setup for the CRF? I bought the Kriega bespoke package, so you have a specially designed saddle pack. You can get them with different size OS packs. I went for the 18 litres, and I've got to say they're a good size. I carried a sleeping bag in one, a tent and a sleeping mat in another, coffee. In addition, I had a 12 litre pack that contained all my cooking bits and pieces. I managed to squeeze a change of clothing in as well. And in my 6 litre one, I have tools, a few odds and sods, and a first aid kit. I also had the bottle set, which I used to carry thermos, cans of drink, and it would have carried my Primus unleaded fuel bottle. But as I've said in the earlier Dragon video, somewhere in the Dragon's lair there is a Primus stove, and I don't know where it is, so I didn't bother taking that. So yeah, all round good piece of kit, thoroughly recommended it. I tested its instructions, so you don't need to. I'm a fool. Thank you very much for watching. See you again soon. Bye. Still, I suppose it could make a decent hat, couldn't it?